Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you are brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And we are in Granite Falls, actually, a little bit of a change of pace. I seem to be jumping all over the place lately, just trying different styles and working on different things. And this build was actually inspired by the one and only Pinterest. I have actually been house hunting as of late, and there are tons of homes around where I live, like I don't know, at least within like a 40-mile radius. Like there's a lot of homes that are kind of like these more rustic farmhouses and stuff like that. And my recent collab with beautiful plum bobs, as you guys saw on my channel already, was kind of inspired by an overgrown farmhouse. So I wanted to build another kind of sort of farmhouse-ish build, and I wanted to use a lot more of the seasons stuff that we have. And this was actually also inspired by a very specific floor plan, which I will link in the description down below. And the floor plan itself was called Rocky Gap. So I wanted to use kind of the same name, but I ended up not doing that because I didn't think that was really, I don't know, appropriate or fair, because it's not like I named it, but it is inspired by that floor plan, which is linked for you guys to check out if you want to see it. I made some adjustments just because, you know, translating real life things to The Sims can sometimes be challenging, but it was kind of an awkward looking shape, I think, for the game itself. You know, in person, this probably looks great, but in The Sims, it looked a little odd to me, like it was really long. And just to make it look as though the proportions were the same, it ended up being kind of skinny. Like it was long and skinny. It seems as though the floor plan, it almost looks like a ranch style home, like on the first floor, but there is the second floor where all the bedrooms are. So it's a little bit odd, but I think it's actually pretty unique compared to some of my other builds. So I hope that you guys enjoy it as much as I did. I really, really liked how this one came out. I loved using all of the stone that we have with seasons. So this wallpaper, technically it's a siding, I believe, or even a paneling, whatever that category is, but I've never used it before, at least not with the stone texture, I don't believe. So that was actually really nice to use, and to use the columns that match it, because I always use these columns, but I don't use it along with that wallpaper. So that was actually really nice. And I was able to put some nice purple flower boxes on all of the windows, which I think added just enough color for this to not be really neutral and kind of look a little too natural. I like the way it looks. Like it looks really natural, and these swatches of, you know, the paneling and the columns are really nice because it looks as though they were made from the trees that surround them. But I really liked kind of adding a little bit of color to it, and I carried that out through the landscaping as well. And you can see I'm in the debug menu, kind of back and forth, honestly, in debug and the regular landscaping menu, because there was a kind of this low-lying, they kind of look like vines, and you'll see me pull it out right here, that are technically categorized for outdoor retreat. There's a similar one actually for vampire stuff, I believe, which was kind of interesting. But I used a lot of the shrubs and daisies and kind of like these low-lying vine-ish plants just to add some depth to the landscaping itself. And I used the pink hydrangea just to kind of match the, I actually don't know if I use the purple or pink window boxes for the flowers at this point. It's kind of hard to tell in this lighting. This is my favorite lighting, so when I find a lot that is able to really highlight the sunset, it's one of my favorite things in the world. So I can't really tell. They look kind of pink, but I think they're purpley pinky, not really sure. The hydrangea looks purple in the actual like shadows here in the shade, but it looks pink in the sunlight. Who knows? But now I'm kind of fleshing out a front little pathway with a bunch of these kind of gardening rocks, I would say. They look like they belong in a garden or like a pond or something, but I really liked how it looked. I thought it was going to be a little too bulky, but it ended up working out, I think, just fine. And now I'm working on grabbing some trees that may or may not match the world of Granite Falls, just to make this build fit in a little bit more. However, this was not built to be a Granite Falls rental. I should probably mention that. Just because I built it here does not mean it needs to be here. Of course, you can place this lot anywhere you would like. I just wanted to build it here because it seemed to match the world really, really well. However, I think this would look great in even Willow Creek or Newcrest, maybe even the countryside of Windenburg. That would probably be really nice. And I don't know, I mean, you could make it into a rental as well. It's just I built it really personalized for a family that lived here. So you can, of course, customize it any way that you would like. And I think, if my memory is serving me correctly, I seem to say that a lot now, my memory is garbage, but I think that this is at least a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I think the second bedroom is a little bit smaller than like the master, but I think it worked out really nicely. And I kind of went for, of course you'll see, but I went for kind of a minimalist look inside. Like I didn't go too crazy with clutter. I shouldn't say minimalist because that absolutely has its own look, but I definitely didn't go as cluttered as I usually go in builds. And I think it's because I use a lot of the same clutter. So I was trying to pull away to see how my builds would look if I didn't go absolutely insane. So you guys will see that when we get inside, but I do flesh out the landscaping prior to that, and I think part of the backyard as well. And I really, really like the backyard in this build because there was a tree which I pulled out earlier from the debug menu that you guys probably saw, and it is categorized as being from Outdoor Retreat. And it's got like all these lanterns. There it is. That's the one. So it's got like these lights wrapped around the tree trunk and all of the branches, and it's a huge tree. And then it has these little lanterns hanging off of it. I'm assuming that this is either in the national park, or maybe it's at the hermit's home, if you can find that when you're actually in the world of Granite Falls. I'm not really sure where it came from, but it did come with that pack if you are wondering, because we also have a bigger tree like that with kind of like colorful lanterns, a little bit more boho, that came with the movie night stuff pack. So that's what that reminded me of, and I just really liked it. I had never seen it before, so I was really excited when I found it, and I knew that I had to use it, even if it meant sizing it down a little bit, because like that was a real big tree, like a real big tree. And I did not need a tree that big in a backyard that really was not that big at all. But as you can see, I'm taking these rocks here and I'm fleshing out the path as I did in the front. And I thought it would be kind of nice, since this isn't Granite Falls, if this farmhouse just had a fire pit in the backyard. I end up, I think, just putting a couple of like planter boxes, maybe another seating area or two. I definitely put these little lights here, which I don't think I've used these before. They were really cute though, and I kind of lined the path and the landscaping in the front and the back. And I think out on the back porch, I may or may not do it on camera. I do it on camera. And I just put a table and some chairs, but I don't believe I actually give them a, I don't think I give them a grill. Wow, memory's real bad. I really don't know if I give them a grill or not. Of course, if I don't, you absolutely could, but I did want there to at least be a seating area out here, since they do have these two patios, one on the upstairs and one on the downstairs. And as you can see, there's no door on the back side of the build that leads them out to this patio on the back. So they have to go from the second floor down to the first floor. Kind of annoying. Wasn't like that in the floor plan on Pinterest, but I had to make some creative decisions because it was kind of small-ish actually, and if I put a door there, it would have really interrupted the floor planning, and I did not want that to happen. I do give them a bicycle, and I kind of decorate a little bit more before I head on to the interior, and the floor plan came together very, very quickly in this build. Like I said, it was basically a rectangle, so I just had to kind of divide and conquer in regards to the square little rooms that I was gonna make. And I have been using this flooring a lot lately. It is the flooring, the floorboards, the actual wood there. I've been using that a lot. It's from Jungle Adventure, and this is the living room. So I started here because I didn't really know what I wanted the style to be. I knew I didn't want it to be crazy cluttered. I didn't have a color scheme in mind, nor did I really have a style other than I wanted it maybe to look a little rustic. But I feel like a lot of my builds are like that, so I didn't know what direction to really take it in. And I end up just plucking out the cats and dogs couch that I love so much. I tried to use that coffee table from Seasons, and it was just way too big for this room. The living room's actually really, really small the more I look at it, but I did at least give them this big fireplace with a TV hanging from it as well, and then they have a couple of bookcases and then just some other decorations. It's not decorated very crazily. There's kind of a console table that I put behind the couch where there's like a picture frame and a couple of other decorations as well. That is something that I had at my house growing up. There was always like a console table or something behind the couch with not decorations, I'd say more so clutter, like some junk, but it was always at least behind the couch. And I thought that was at least a nice touch with this being a smaller space. I also put a mirror on one of the walls, and that little corner shelf from Cats and Dogs was perfect for this build. You know, they may not be on the coast where like the little sailboat decoration isn't exactly applicable, but they are in a vacation world, so maybe it's a little bit more applicable. I don't really know, but I'm using the OMSP shelf now to clutter up the bookcases just because I can't stand the open spots on these. They really drive me crazy. I wish there was a little bit more clutter, so it is fun to personalize those a bit since they're obviously identical, right? No matter what the swatch is, it's just changing the wood color compared to the clutter on the bookshelf. And now I am also putting just a little flower decoration and some candles on the mantle just to decorate it a little tiny bit. Like I said, nothing crazy. And you guys were asking about the OMSP shelf, at least someone did, and it is a custom content item. I just remembered someone asked about it, so I will make a community post about it too, because it's not in the description of my videos, and I may start including it there. But yeah, it is a piece of custom content, and basically it just has tons of slots, and you can basically drag it along the walls at any height you would like. That way you can bring certain items to a particular height to kind of like clutter shelves and whatnot, especially if they don't clip to those shelves, or if you use the Control 9 key and they just don't raise to the appropriate level. It's like really, really, really good for decorating. It has basically changed the way that I build and decorate, so it's a really cool thing. If you're hesitant about custom content, I was too. However, this thing really changed my life, so I highly recommend it. And as you can see, I am wrapping up the very first full bathroom in this home. It is very simple, just a toilet, and of course there's the shower tub combo. And now we're working on the entryway, and the entryway is usually a place where I put mirrors and plants. And as you can see, I went and grabbed a mirror real quick. So there was a mirror in this little front entryway here, and well, some plants as well, you guys. You guessed it. But the stairs are also open there on this first floor. I kind of paused there because I was like, the stairs are open under the stairs, but the stairs are open like underneath there. So I was able to at least squeeze in a little laundry room. So that's what this little 4-tile room ends up being. So there's the washer and dryer in there, not the stacked ones, and just a couple of clutter decorations and whatnot. And I think what I usually do, and what I did in this build, is if the stairs are open, I end up putting like a chair there with a light or something, because I always try to picture them as little reading nooks. That clearly shows that I like desperately want a little reading nook like that, whether it's under the stairs or like near a window or something. I mean, I do have a patio where I live, but it's one of those patios where the railings, not even the railings, but like kind of the fencing that encloses it, right? It's not fencing at all, and it's not open. It's literally like solid wall with siding. And I have never really disclosed this, but I'm very short. I am under 5 feet tall. So being short, I can't see over the little like half wall that there is on the patio. So I don't really get to see much, and it's not very fun for me. So I really wish that I had a reading nook somewhere, but now we are on to the kitchen. And I think I don't know, this kitchen was really fun. It is very simple and probably resembles a lot of the kitchens that I have done previously. And I end up using a round table, which I don't get to use very often. Usually when I place them down, I want to put all of the chairs down that you're able to put down for a round table. But more often than not, I tuck them into a corner and put about 3 to 4 chairs, which works perfectly fine. All of your Sims can access those chairs. However, I should make a build soon where we put like 6 or 7, or does it go up to 8? It might go up to 8 chairs for the round tables. I'm not quite sure. I think that's what it does. But I should really do a build soon where I actually give the Sims enough space to have that full table. That would be kind of nice. But as you can see, I am decorating the kitchen now just with a cutting board and the little coffee neon sign, which I usually save for community lots, but I thought it was really cute in this build. And I have like a little coffee bar where I live, so it kind of reminded me of that, making it a little bit personalized, a little bit more fun. And I have a bread box and just some utensils, and they can cook on that little corner shelf, no problem. I wanted to make sure that there was at least a surface that they could actually cook on. If you have issues, removing that flour in the corner will probably be your best bet. If not, you may have to get rid of the shelves of like spices and stuff that I put over the dishwasher. Again, it worked for me. However, I know that this game can be a little finicky for some folks, so those might be some suggestions if you do run into any snags. And now I am getting the dining table. First, I was going to put all the seats there, but I ended up just using 3 and then decorating the wall above the table there with the rack of like espresso things, like coffee things from Get Together, as well as a painting above it. I was going to make it look like it was resting on it, but it looked a little awkward. And then I actually end up grabbing another side table and putting the little shelf item that we got, a little kitchen clutter item from Tiny Living. Still one of my favorite things. I would probably use it in every build if I could, and I've probably used it in too many builds at this point, but I love items like that. Like the Tiny Living stuff pack, I'm totally diverting to a different thing here, but the Tiny Living stuff pack, I have to admit, that was probably one of my favorite stuff packs to date. The items that we got are so usable and so versatile, and the clutter items specifically, like the decorations, that is what I need. I need more of that because I'm basically creating my own cluttered items all the time, which if you think about it, like I understand not everyone wants that. So having items that are kind of empty and that allow you to customize them a little bit with maybe using a simple cheat and popping something in a shelf, like that's cool. But I loved the clutter items in Tiny Living, so I really like that shelf. And this was the weirdest thing. It's actually not that weird. I kind of expected it, but every time I added a wall or got rid of a wall upstairs, it deleted that freaking chimney, that roof piece, and it drove me insane. As you can see, I had to place it like 3 times and I didn't fully understand because it's not like it actually touches it. That's the 4th time. Like that was the 4th time I had to do it, and luckily that was the last time I had to touch it. But yeah, it was being deleted every single time I either deleted a wall or added a wall to try to figure out the floor plan up here, and it drove me nuts. But the first room that I work on is the parents' room, and I didn't really think the personalities through too much with the parents. I just thought that they were outdoorsy Sims. That's pretty much it. To have kind of this rustic farmhouse and such a nice setup outside, it just felt right. It felt as though they spent a lot of time outdoors and, you know, maybe gardening, maybe flower arranging, maybe the dad is like super handy and he crafts his own furniture. I don't really know. I didn't really think it through too much, but their bedroom is kind of nice. It's really calming, I think. I haven't used this bed from Jungle Adventure in some time, so that was actually really nice. And I was looking for a bed that I hadn't used in a while, and one that had kind of a softer wood tone to it as well, because I did use a combination of wood tones in this build, which I was proud of myself for. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that I used a different bed just to kind of mix it up a little bit. And now I'm just decorating their dresser with some clutter items and a lamp. And I put that little kind of like wicker seat there. So you may have issues using the wardrobe, but honestly, Sims change on their own so many times throughout gameplay that it doesn't faze me typically, but it may not work for you. So just a heads up. And then I'm just kind of decorating the walls here. It was kind of a long open wall. It felt really awkward. So I tossed the lamp on that side and then just used another one of those stools as a side table, and then I just kind of decorate the walls here. And instead of using, I think, that side table, I think I put a bookshelf. I don't think I used the same one from downstairs, but I used this base game one just to kind of fill the space a little bit. My Sims homes always end up having a lot of bookshelves, and I don't read as much as I would like to, so I don't really know where that comes from. But now I'm working on the second bedroom, and it is for a toddler, and I thought it was a really sweet room. So I hadn't used this swatch of the toddler bed ever, which surprised me because it's so simple and I love the wood tone. But this was a fairly neutral room, I would say. I think the theme was more so like teals and greens, but it could of course be for any toddler that you would like. I just thought it was really nice. They were kind of more natural colors, I suppose. I don't really know. I wasn't really going for too much of a theme per se. I just wanted it to look cute. And they do have like a little rug, a little turtle rug. and a little cube wardrobe organizer. And I think I give them the bookshelf, and then I think a little light and a little armchair. I was gonna say stool. A little armchair. I think it's from the My First Pet stuff, so it happened. And that is actually almost it for the build as well. I just kind of decorate a little bit more, and I don't know, that's almost it because there isn't really too much left. I was thinking about a basement. A basement would have been, I don't know, a basement actually would have been pretty cool, but I don't think I could squeeze it in here. Like, where would you guys have put it? Like the staircase. I'm trying to think of the downstairs floor plan. I don't really know where I would have been able to put a staircase for a basement. And actually, it's not the end of the build because I forgot about the master bathroom that is upstairs off the parents' room. So it is very much like the bathroom downstairs. Nothing crazy. So I'm not really going to go into too much detail. But that is actually, the toddler potty is downstairs, not upstairs too. And I added off camera because I didn't make the decision about a toddler until I started making the room. But now I hope you guys enjoyed this build, and I hope you all had a great weekend, and I'll catch you next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Not afraid to bring it up. We laugh when times are rough. All of is enough to carry us through. You bring me roses on a Tuesday, kiss me at the red light. We both like to walk down in Shelby Park. You hold my head at bedtime. You know my favorite wine. This is why we work, why it's you and I. In the middle of the day, you turn to me and say, come on, let's get away. Skip this town for a day.